A lot happening this week as it relates to the Hillary Clinton email scandal. For example, we learned this week that CIA operatives were identified in many of these emails. We had not previously known that. We know the emails in the Clinton probe also dealt with planned drone strikes. Again, a direct threat to our national security and a compromising of our national security. That's on top of what we already knew, which, of course, we had satellite imaging of North Korea's nuclear program on Hillary's emails. We also know that we had top secret information on those emails, and even beyond top secret, special access programs classification, which is above top secret, on these emails. Now, the issue came up this week when the president endorsed Hillary Clinton to be his successor. And Josh Earnest said that the endorsement will not impact the FBI investigation into the former Secretary of State's use of a private email server. Then it got even more interesting. Within an hour of Barack Obama's hostage endorsement video that he released of Hillary Clinton, Josh Earnest then acknowledged that, in fact, she does face and is facing a criminal investigation, something they have denied up to this point. Now, that sent Republicans now going to reporters and saying even now they finally admit it. Now, Clinton faces the possibility of prosecution for housing these classified documents on a private email server. And she used this homebrew setup for all of her emails, including sensitive government matters, when she was Secretary of State. Now, Josh Earnest insists the endorsement should not be interpreted inside the FBI as a signal to let her off the hook. Well, what other way could it possibly be interpreted? Let's be honest here. Anyway, here to look at the legal side of all of this is my friend and colleague, Judge Jeanine Pirro. She, of course, hosts her own show on the weekend on the Fox News Channel and has been studying this issue backwards and forwards now for many, many months, and probably knows more than anybody else I know. How are you?
I'm terrific. How are you?
I'm good. You have a very, very interesting theory about why Obama keeps sending these signals. In other words, look, he's supposed to be a constitutional attorney, but without the facts. He weighed in on the Cambridge police acting stupidly. He weighed in on Ferguson without any evidence or facts or testimony given in that case. He did the same thing with Trayvon Martin and the case with George Zimmerman down in Florida. But very specifically here in an interview he did with 60 Minutes, and he said, oh, she didn't do anything wrong. Or what he's saying by endorsing her, he's doing it, you believe, for a very specific reason. Why?
Hey, Sean, it's great to be with you. What I think is going on here is that the president is endorsing Hillary Clinton irrespective of this pending criminal investigation, although she'd love to call it a security inquiry. And now with Josh Earnest admitting that it is a criminal investigation, and obviously Jim Comey, the head of the FBI, saying that's exactly what it is, and a minimum of 80, if not more, FBI agents on this investigation. When the president does that, this is my theory. Number one, you don't endorse someone who is under criminal investigation. A presidential nominee or a presumed presidential nominee of a major party who is the subject of an active FBI investigation.
By the way, do we know if she's
we've never had one in this country.
Do we know if she's a target?
What?
Do we know if she's a target?
Well, I don't know who they're looking at. If they're not looking at her and her emails, they're not looking at anyone other than that trio of Uma, Cheryl Mills, Brian Pagliano, who set up the server and who gave the Department of Justice enough information that they were willing to give him immunity. And let me explain to your listeners. I mean, I've been a prosecutor, judge, and DA for 30 years. You do not give someone immunity unless they give you something that indicates that a crime has occurred and that they were a part of it. Get it? So, if this guy Pagliano was not involved in criminal activity, there would be no reason to give him immunity. And I'm not going to peel the onion back a million ways, but what I'll tell you is this. It is all there. It's about Hillary and her confidence in saying nothing will happen, there will be no indictment, and the president endorsing her tells me that there will be no indictment, because when Hillary made this statement, Sean, Everybody knew about my email situation. Everyone was aware of what was going on. That told me that she had not only, what I was already aware of, sent emails to the president himself on this private server in the Clinton email, but that he responded to her as well. And if that is the case, then he is complicit. He would be called as a witness in her criminal case were she to be indicted, and we cannot afford to have that happen. That's what they would say, and have a constitutional crisis with the President of the United States and a Secretary of State engaging in communications on unsecured servers that involve information, as you so accurately stated, at the outset. CIA operatives identified planned drone strike, satellite imaging, top secret, beyond top secret. And so the only way to keep this out of the public eye and to make sure nothing happens is to not only get her elected president, according to the, Obama way of thinking, but to shut down any possibility of indictment. And he does that through Loretta Lynch.
Every single person that knows James Comey that I have talked to or interviewed on this topic says he's a man of incredible integrity. We all know the story that he threatened to resign when George Bush was president because of an issue involving John Ashcroft and I don't remember the specific issue off the top of my head, and Alberto Gonzales, and there was a race to John Ashcroft's bed.
In the hospital. Yeah.
In the hospital, and he was willing to resign, and Bush had not apparently known about the specifics of the extension of the program, and when told about it by Comey, said, no, that's no problem, we'll fix it.
Yeah, and look, I know Jim Comey. I worked with Jim Comey. He was the United States Attorney in the Southern District of New York when I was a sitting DA. We both had offices in White Plains. I mean, he is an honorable, brilliant, logical thinking, honest guy. This is a guy, he is a patriot, this guy. Jim Comey is someone who believes in the Constitution. He believes in what's right. He is an ethical guy.
Are you saying he's not feeling the weight of this presidential election season?
I don't think he gives a damn. You know why, Sean? Because he serves a 10-year term. Look, Obama may have appointed him, but Obama can't take him out. The bottom line is he's going to serve the next president or two for the next 10 years. He doesn't
or he makes a criminal referral and it's ignored by the Justice Department. Then what does he do?
Therein lies the rub, and that's the issue. Will there be a Saturday night massacre where people start resigning, or will Jim Comey, and if I were advising him, I would say this, all right, you can leak it. I've got no problem with your leaking it, or your FBI agents are probably going to leak it. I mean, I don't like any leaks at all. But I think that if they were going to do that, Comey is still there for the next president. And if the next president is Trump and not Hillary Clinton, he can reopen that case because the statute of limitations has not run. And then Trump can put in an attorney general who should give access to the grand jury. And by the way, Jim Comey is not just a cop. The head of the FBI is law enforcement. Jim Comey is a former deputy attorney general of the United States. I mean, this is a guy who has handled public corruption, handled pay to play, handled these kinds of cases. And this, Sean, is the epitome of corruption.
Then why is it? Then why? I know they had to somehow restore the 33,000 deleted emails, but why is this taking so long?
You know why? It's taking so long because now they're into the the Clinton Foundation. Look, why was the email?
So you're saying that you think the original part of the investigation, which entailed why did she have a private email server in a mom and pop shop bathroom that was set up by Brian Pagliano, who now has an immunity deal and signed a proffer agreement with the prosecutors in this case. He may end up being the John Dean in this particular story. So you're saying that investigation has to be over at this point, and now they've found potential other law breaking as it relates to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, I really believe the email investigation is over. And if what I believe to be the case, that they cannot allow this to go forward because we'll be in a constitutional crisis because she will call the President of the United States. And she has already signaled that. But even even more than that, I am looking at the Clinton Foundation and have been for a long time. And I got to tell you, they've got more amendments, amended tax returns, 2010, 11, 12, 13, and all of the subsidiaries. Look, you start a foundation in 97, Sean, and it's supposed to be some kind of, presidential library thing. It goes from that to a couple that's dead broke to a $2 billion operation, and we have no idea where the money's coming or going, but what we do know is that almost 80% of it is going to expenses, first-class air, salaries for Clinton employees, Clinton political operatives. I mean, this is a worldwide charity fraud that is operating as a 501c3. And when you think about the conservatives who tried to get their little 501c3 being crucified
a Tea Party
by
group
Lois
or a
Lerner,
Patriot group, right?
And these people are operating it in a multi-billion-dollar operation that is controlled by many states, the federal government, and many foreign governments. What you see is corruption and a pay-to-play on a world level, where Bill Clinton, and I haven't even broached the laureate education piece that is just coming out now.
$55 million from the State Department when Hillary was there, and he got paid $16 million of it. That sounds like a kickback to me.
Yeah, and that $16 million, I believe, was during a 4-year period. How much other business did she do as Secretary of State while these two enriched themselves while she was a United States Senator and the Secretary of State?
So let me ask you, because we're running out of time and you have so much knowledge here, how does this all play out? And give me a timeline. Give me a time frame.
Well, I think that we're going to see something rear its head before the convention, and I don't know if it'll be a decision by the Department of Justice or if it'll be a leak, because there isn't anything that's coming out. Look, if they're going to make any changes here, and they know it, it's got to be before the convention if they're going to stick a Joe Biden in there. But she is already, she was so smug, Sean, so arrogant, I am absolutely certain. Well, wait a minute. You had 60,000 emails on a private server.
Did you interpret that maybe she knows something we don't know? We have learned in the past that her lawyer talks to the Justice Department every day.
Well, yeah, that the fix is in. That's what she knows. The fix is in. She's got the goods on Obama. She's telling Obama, if you don't want to be incriminated in this thing, you better tell Loretta there not to open up a grand jury for Jim Comey. And I hope that Jim Comey hangs on to everything he's got. But the American people need to understand that we cannot allow these people to parlay all kinds of money under the guise of a charitable organization and just enrich themselves so that they have money and power. It's wrong.
I got to tell you, the whole thing, it just stinks to high heaven. And I don't think people really fully, completely understand the magnitude and the depths and the level. I mean, the amount of money these people made in such a short period of time. And even the buying of silence, taking money from countries like the UAE and Oman and Saudi Arabia, never criticizing their horrible treatment of women and other minorities. It's pretty breathtaking, and it's pretty wide in its scope.
The whole idea that you would take money from countries where women are stoned to death for adultery, gays are thrown out of buildings, and you're such a liberal and, a human rights activist. It is.
It's the height, and not say anything either. They bought her silence. But I got to roll.
Okay.
Judge Jeanine, we'll see you this weekend on Fox, 9 o'clock Saturdays, 9 o'clock Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Bye.
All right.